Welcome to Shadows of Dawn.
And welcome to Shadows of Dawn. This is our 5th episode in the Time of Troubles. With us on this episode is the Doctor, or High Priest, Dr. Bran Silverhill. The good doctor is with us. And to go ahead and catch everybody up. So, what has been going on as of late? There was a town crier, which basically had some news, and I'll give a quick recap on that. As Bran was had returned to Fellhammer after partaking in an investigation in Glissondale. It wasn't, but maybe about 5 days later, the next week had kind of rolled over and he had been able to, Bran had been able to talk to his other fellow adventurers, via sendings and whatnot, to just kind of exchange some information while they kind of waited for new clues to drop. When, let's see, so suddenly, let's see, where is my, dang it. I had my news. Found it. When the town crier, extra, extra, read all about it. Grave robbed at Avenguard Castle. As Bran kind of noticed that the article, he went and grabbed the scroll that the crier kind of lets people read. They make copies, so they don't give them all out, but you can come up, you can read it, and then pass it off to the next person. The scroll spoke about a grave being robbed inside Castle Avenguard. An anonymous source is claiming that one of the family graves was dug up inside the castle walls proper. So far, there has been no comment coming from the noble family itself, but witnesses say something was taken from one of the graves, and the castle has been seen on high alert ever since. So, with that, Bran is able to contact Xanthos Stonespire, who is actually staying at Castle Avenguard. He has been there for several years now as a resident, working on the inside. And Bran just came off an adventure, actually, with Xanthos Stonespire, where they had to deal with some troubles of future past. So, with that set up, Bran, I'm going to go ahead and pull you over to Avenguard as you were able to travel there. Takes a couple days, but your travel will be uneventful. And scroll. Yep. Got some ambient town noise going on. And let me pull Bran in to Tailspire here. There you go. Bran stands at the entrance road leading up to the massive fortress.
So this is the castle.
So inside,
Avenguard, right?
inside Avenguard City. Avenguard is the only walled city. The only built walled city. You could technically call Glissondale walled because it is surrounded by mountains. But Avenguard is the only walled city. Within the northern portion is an inner wall, which is the Castle Avenguard's property. And the castle itself sits within this secondary wall. So, the castle has its own walls, but like its back wall is part of the city wall, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
As soon as I asked the question, I saw Castle Avenguard up on my screen.
So,
All right. Well, let's see. I check for traps.
all right, well, you can give me an investigation check if you wish to start picking through the dirt road. As Bran approaches the castle, you can see that there are guards. You've been to Castle Avenguard before. They usually don't have 4 guards out front, and several standing under the battlements. But they begin to stop you. Fortunately for you, a voice from the other side. Ah, Dr. Silverhill. You hear Xanthos' tone. It's okay, men. He's with me. You can let him pass. I will be taking good care of our friend. He is most welcome. The guards kind of step aside to allow you in. Xanthos stands there very proudly. Of course, you've gotten used to Xanthos. Says, welcome to welcome to Castle Avenguard. This is where I am staying. Of course, this is where I protect the entire castle, as it should be.
Oh, of course, mighty paladin, mighty holy paladin.
So, was your journey well?
It was good. It was good. No bad dice rolls.
Oh,
On the way here.
this is most excellent. So, while we've managed to preserve the scene of the crime, but I'm pretty sure you would like to start with some refreshment. And Lady Sarah Raven Avenguard is currently in the audience chamber with Master Timothy Margone. If you would like to speak with him first, as I will be your escort.
Say it again.
So, as I will be your escort, the castle grounds are yours to explore. I can show you pretty much anywhere you wish to go.
You know, I have been on the road a couple of days. You know me all too well. Lead to the refreshment, and it had better be adult refreshment.
Of course, they are. It is the best. So, walking through the central open area, Castle Avenguard. You've been here before. You remember the very lush settings of the inner castle. What is new, however, is the massive statue of the Silver Dragon. You did have your chance to lay eyes upon it, and its resemblance is quite striking. As the Dragon of Selenia Delinar, the statue is now present in the inner courtyard.
Wow.
Yes, it's very nice. I've learned quite a lot about silver dragons in my time here. Quite amazing creatures.
Yes, indeed. Is this I'm gonna butcher her name.
Selenia.
Selenia.
Yes. This was created in her likeness by some of the finest craftsmen in the world. And they came from Avenguard, of course.
Of course. Well, I shall never recall anything fairer than the gift she gave to me.
Well.
What a beautiful dragon.
Yes, indeed.
Silver dragons are the best, you know.
Absolutely. I completely concur. Just follow this way. It's okay, gentlemen. This is High Priest Dr. Bran Silverhill from Fellhammer. He is my personal guest. You can kind of see their eyes kind of like, okay, he's doing it again.
All right, Xanthos. All right.
He kind of leads you into the inner courtyard. At ease, at ease. The guys were already at ease, though, as he walks past them. But, the inner fountain, still, pleasant, nice, soft water trickles, runs down the fountain. It's nice solitude in here. The walls kind of give this area a nice, quiet, even though it is almost constantly in shadow due to the high walls of the courtyard and the small setting. It's only when it comes like high noon that it really casts the light down into it. Castle Avenguard, as you remember, is of course finely decorated, very well kept, very high quality.
Only the best for Paladin of Xanthos' might.
Absolutely. You can't have just normal, castles or keeps. Absolutely has to be the best. Xanthos climbs the stairs, which you remember where the audience chamber is. And Lady Avenguard, may I present High Priest Dr. Bran Silverhill of the Fellhammer 5 from Fellhammer. She gets up out of her chair, as does Master Timothy Margone. Welcome, Doctor. It's kind of you to join us. Please sit. Refreshment and
Oh, please, yes.
So Xanthos quickly looks at you, kind of sees where you're going, and then quickly moves to the chair that's next to the High Lady and sits there.
Who is this?
Timothy Margone, the master, he represents he both works here at Castle Avenguard. He is a member of the Avenguard staff, but he was also connected to the Circle of Wizards. He is a member of the Circle of Wizards. He's like, Mr. Silverhill, it is a pleasure to see you again. Your beard is looking great. I hope things have gone well. I hear that the Church of Selûne is thriving in Fellhammer.
Oh, yes. Can't complain. It's doing quite well. I have a couple of acolytes now. Take care of things while I'm away.
Excellent. That is most excellent. So,
but we're still a very humble church, a modest church. The moon doesn't clothe herself in fine wine and fine dress. She just calmly watches over the night, as do I.
Excellent, most excellent. Lady Sarah Raven asks, I hope your journey was well. I know the large caravans aren't running, but there are plenty of the small ones, which is probably one of you caught, a smaller caravan. It had a safe route. It did have to bring you through Tindleton, but, that's hard to avoid sometimes.
Tindleton doesn't bother me.
Well, good. And they bring you a nice ale. It's like, so, Xanthos contacted us, or told us as soon as y'all had spoken. We did leave the site. We do wish to repair it, but we did leave it as he said that you were doing some investigations. So, tell us, what do you make of everything thus far? The death of Baron Daniel Warwick, that is a very severe tragedy. He was a very good ally, good friend.
Yes, I was most disturbed by the loss of innocence in Glissondale. With my many ties to the city, I, of course, wanted to see everything was well. I made a journey over there. And, needed to check on my sacrament wine for the festival. So I made a stop in at the Merchants Guild and discovered, sort of at the same time as I was investigating the explosion, that the wine that, the ale that exploded, or nearby the explosion, was sold to a mysterious man by the O'Brien family.
Well, that that is strange. I mean, the fact that the explosion occurred, we wish we could get more information out of Glissendale. We absolutely share Imdel's frustration. At the
Well, I might be able to help you with that. Well, not me per se, but a colleague of mine is an investigator in Glissendale. I have not had a chance to catch up with him yet, but I was about to actually when I heard the horrible news that happened here, inside these very walls.
Yes, I mean, and the timing. We couldn't help but notice it was merely, oh, I would say a day after the incident in Snowshore Harbor. Very little has come out about that, but I mean, we're not sure what to make of it. I mean, a day is not a long time. Certainly, a person could not travel that distance in a day. So we don't think there is a connection, but Xanthos does not quite share, how should we say, our reserve. Xanthos is like, I always think that when things happen, it's always connected. It always has to be connected. There's just a connection, the way they're connected. Timothy Margone is like, there is wisdom in your words, Xanthos. Although I'm not sure exactly where it came from.
But that was the ale talking, I think.
Ale?
Well versed in ale.
Oh yes, ale. I will drink my ale now. He goes, takes his first drink. But Timothy Margone says, well, I guess to the reason you've come, we can tell you several things. We will see what you make of it. Not to reveal too much, as you would probably wish to see and perhaps ask around. And we have brought some people to the chamber for your arrival so that you can speak with them as well. I will tell you this, Master Dwarf, priest, cleric. Magic has been unable to detect who did this, even divination magic. It's as if it didn't happen at all, or as we expect. It's as if something is preventing divine magic from the truth. I found this very curious. Even our high priestess was unable to discern through divination anything beyond what we've already learned through old-fashioned techniques of just good old investigation.
Ah, yes. Could you be persuaded to tell me what divination spell you used to try to determine what happened?
So, we've tried augury. High priestess has tried divination itself. Those are the two largest forms. There are no dead, thank goodness. So, speaking with the dead was not really an option. But if you have any other means, by all means, we would be open to it. We should tell you that what is discovered, and more to the matter of the point, it was not necessarily a grave that was robbed, per se. There was a hole. It was dug underneath the lighted tree that you see hanging over the castle. This tree was a tree that grew from the remains of Selenia, the silver dragon. It's a small tunnel, very small, which leads beneath the roots. The only thing that we buried under there, on that spot, was Selenia's heart. The rest of her body was buried at an undisclosed location, which will not be revealed.
Did they take the heart?
From what we can tell, it is not there. We are not sure if it is because it has dissolved into the tree or because it's just deteriorated in the earth. Divination magic may have been able to tell us more, but as I said, it is not working. It seems to be either unknown to the divine or something is blocking it. The tree, however,
you think?
does continue to live. It seems as though whatever the magic that was enacted from the burial of the heart, which was a mystery to us, that caused the tree to grow, has already taken hold. The tree does not seem to need. If there was something taken from there, it is not affecting the tree's life. So the tree is remaining alive.
Do you believe that no divination magic, as if it's resistant to divination magic, or do you suspect the right questions haven't been asked yet?
You bring a very good point. The questions that we had asked would have been some of the simpler ones. Who did it? Who was it? Was it a person? What else? Lady Sarah Raven Avenguard says, was it done out of revenge? Was it done out of spite? Was it done for treasure or glory? All of these have had no answer. Ah, yes, precisely as I thought. They would have had no answers, Anthos says. Just kind of interrupting. Just it's almost as if to be a little relevant. He's like, I suspected as much. Whoever did this is very, very elusive. Yes, you're quite right, Xanthos. Timothy Margone replies. The only thing that was left behind was a shovel. He kind of motions, and one of the guards in the back, you didn't notice before, but he is holding a shovel as he steps up. And he says, this was the only thing that was left. And he kind of presents it to you.
Okay, I'll take the shovel and channel my inner Cornelius and lick the shovel.
Alrighty.
Hold it up to the air.
Nothing. You're hunting snow beasts.
It was a bumble that did it.
It was Bumbles. Alright.
Um,
You can give me a perception or an insight check.
I have the same wisdom on either. Ugh. 11.
You can also decide to use your inspiration before, if you wish.
Do I start with inspiration?
Yeah, you.
Because I used it on the... Okay.
Yeah, you'll have it.
Mm,
Unless there's any spells you also wish to cast beforehand, too, or during. I don't know if you have enhance ability or anything like that you can use.
I do. I suppose I should do that if you'd let me.
Yeah,
I'll let me retcon. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll cast. So I'll just roll another one.
Okay.
That was 14.
14. You kind of look it over, and you sit there and you think for a minute. You flip the shovel over, kind of run along the back side of its metal, noting a loose screw. Something about the shovel is interesting to you. It's not human size. You can look across and see that Lady Sarah Raven Avenguard and Timothy Margone are looking at you. They're looking at you to see what you notice.
So is it smaller or larger than human size?
It actually looks like it would be sized for a dwarf. The way the grip is, it's wider at the top. Where the hand marks is that bear on the wood. But you also know, give me a history check, and I will give you advantage because you have dwarven stone cunning.
21.
Haha. If it is a dwarven shovel, and it was indeed made by dwarves, there will be a maker's mark on the wood underneath the iron, which it looks like the bolt is still in place and has not been removed.
So the screw that's loose is...
Oh, the screw is not loose. So, you know where the shovel meets the wood? Not at the handle, at the bottom. So, There's
Okay.
like it, yeah, because it's like the shovel has an iron cylinder, and the wood kind of goes into it, and then it's bolted in. So
And so
there would
the
probably be a
maker's mark
dwarven
would be
maker's mark on the wood underneath the iron, because dwarves are smart like that. They hide it so it doesn't get ruined.
but the iron on which end?
You just the bottom or the top. It could be either or,
Could be either. Okay.
but you just have to take it apart.
All right. Um. Well, I'll tell him as this shovel, I can tell you, is most likely not made for human. It feels too perfect in my dwarven hands, and I suspect it may be dwarven made.
You can
Have
see
you any attachment to the shuffle?
you can see
Because I
that
must dismantle it myself.
Lady Sarah Raven glances at Timothy Margone. Timothy Margone says, "That's a keen eye, Master Dwarf. I came to the same conclusion as well. Attachment to the shovel only in a matter of evidence. What did you have in mind?"
Well, if it is dwarven and made by anybody of repute, there should be a maker's mark somewhere on this device.
They
But
both
I'll
look
have
at
to
each
get
other with
underneath the iron.
they
and
both look at
unbolt
each
it.
other with a bit of surprise. Really? Master Timothy Margone. Xanthos like, exactly as I would have expected. It's got to be there somewhere. Maybe we should reveal the maker's mark and take a look.
I couldn't agree more, Xanthos. Right on the money as always.
Timothy Margone kind of looks at, "With your permission, lady." She's like, "Granted. What tools do you require?" It takes nothing more than a hammer. If you have a hammer on yourself, you could probably do it right then and there.
Yeah.
If not, then
How?
they can fetch one.
Yeah, you may have to fetch one.
All right.
I
They have
left
a
it in
hammer.
my other pants.
They have a hammer brought out. And so you pry the bolt up. And sure enough, as you pull the bolt off, there is a mark where you would have expected. Give me a history check, and I will give you advantage since you are a dwarf.
Oh God, that's the inspiration I need right there.
Well, you haven't used your inspiration yet. So
Right, that's better. 23.
there we go. It is the mark of the Ironbeard clan. As you're like, when you reveal it, you see the mark. What do you do? How do you react?
I'm having trouble remembering who the Ironbeards are.
Ironbeard is a clan from Glissendale. It is a noble family.
Stand by. Ah, yes. Oh my.
What is it, Master Dwarf?
Curiouser and curiouser. Have you had any dealings with the long Ironbeards? Pardon me.
With
Of Glissendale, the Dwarven clan.
wow. Only in, let's see, the Ironbeard clan. Only in the means of gems, jewelry, and I mean some of their stock, of course, is traded here or sold here in Avenguard, as well as their brews. Their brewing, of course, is always refined for the dwarven palate. In fact, the ale you're drinking right now is, I believe, one that we had picked
yes, I could tell for
particularly,
sure. Oh, yeah.
particularly for you. You do know the Ironbeards are dwarves and gnomes. It's a breed of a dwarf and a gnome kind of, they're both.
So no bad blood with the Ironbeards then.
Not particularly. Why are you
Well.
asking?
This shovel was made by the Ironbeards. So it was either stolen from them, or given to, or whoever had it, either stole it from them, or it was given to them.
Timothy Margone walks up to inspect, if you will. He's basically looking to see if you'll show him the mark.
Oh yeah, I'll show him.
He looks, he kind of like,
See there, it's those funny cuts on the side that give it away.
"Aye, you have a very keen eye, Master Dwarf." Yes, my lady, it is indeed the mark of the Ironbeard clan. I recognize the symbology. This is interesting. So, give me an insight check. Just a normal.
Sorry, 1 second. I stepped away for just a second.
Okay.
Insight.
Insight.
18.
18. So, a couple of things that are interesting about this. This shovel is older, worn. Not tremendously, but it's not something that was purchased just the other day. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Meaning, it came from somewhere. Now, the Ironbeards don't make shovels to sell. That's not a trade commodity that they are in. Meaning, you know, castles like these, or noble families, or large clans, you know, they make their own, they have their own smiths. They make their own tools that they use on their own properties. This was not something that was sold at a general store.
Right. Right, which is why I said it was either given or stolen.
Right.
They don't make them.
But yeah, but it wouldn't have been stolen from a store either. So,
Oh, right. I see what you mean.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, that is.
Did anybody get a look at the man? Nobody saw anything, correct?
Excellent question, Master Dwarf. She motions to the side. Over here, just behind you, there are two guards. Both of these guards then step forward. As soon as the DM can lasso them, they will step forward. They're being ornery. There we go. Yes, milady. I said, the Master Dwarf has questions about what you saw. Yes, milady. Tell them what you saw, gentlemen. Well, Master Dwarf, we was coming on the inner patrol, you see, the inner ground patrol. And, well, we saw a dwarven worker. He's not militia, wasn't in the uniform, which is unusual, since most of the workers at the castle are human. It could have been a militia guard, though, we thought, as some of them are dwarven. But I could have swore that we talked to him. That's right. I mean, when you see somebody walking about, it's typical to say the hellos and whatnots, or to ask any questions. And no, before you ask, Master Dwarf, we were not drinking. But we don't really have any memory of our conversation nor what was said. Although I could have swore that we did talk to him. It's like I had the same feeling, but I can't seem to remember any parts of the conversation or having actually talked to him. Anyway, we went on about our patrol. Thought nothing of it until we learned what happened the next morning. Then we came straight to and told the High Lady and Xanthos. Yes, they did report to me what they had seen. I took that.
And where precisely relative to what was stolen did you encounter this man?
We are on the we are on the main inner walls, not the courtyard where the fountain is, just right past the statue of Selenia. It would be on the northern side of the castle.
In which direction was the man traveling?
He's traveling
from or toward the scene of the crime?
They kind of look at each other. One says east, the other says west. like they're hazy on that. It was like east. I thought it was west. I don't rightly remember, and neither of them seem to actually. They kind of talk about it, look at each other, very confused. Timothy Margone says. Timothy Margone looks at him. He's like, "Your patrol route is generally in a clockwise direction, is it not?" And they're like, "Yes, Master Margone." I said, "Did he come upon you, or did you come upon him?" And they sit there and they think for a second. Maybe he came upon us. Timothy Margone kind of then turns. He says, "If that was the case, then he would have been traveling west to east, headed towards the back."
Headed towards the scene of the crime.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember when in the evening?
It was during the day. It was during the day, good sir. We were on day patrol. Broad daylight, actually. Not. I mean, it was in the afternoon, but the sun was still up. We'd probably say about 4:30.
And when does it suspected that? So nobody saw anything happen at the time, so we don't know exactly when the crime occurred. Is that correct?
You kind of look back to them, or look, Timothy Margone and Lady Sarah Raven basically says, "This is correct. We assume that it happened during the night, but it's odd. There's quite the large gap before something was discovered in the very wee hours of the morning. One of the night patrols, I'd say just after 1 a.m., alerted the castle to what had happened."
And nobody was nearby the tree between, say, 4:30 and 1.
So the inner guard patrol usually makes its rounds. They'll make the rounds approximately, Xantho says, every 10 to 15 minutes, depending on any kind of incidents.
So the patrol takes them by the tree.
Somewhat. Not very close. We will show you, and you'll be able to see this location.
Yes.
I said, that'll be all, gentlemen. But that's not all that we have for you, High Priest. In fact, we have something else that was a bit curious. The two guards, they kind of move back. She points kind of to the other side of the room where you see 4 workers. They're in workers' clothes. And she motions them to come up and kind of gather. And they kind of come more out here, kind of in the middle, so that everybody can see them. They're all 4 human, and they're all 4 male, kind of in their middle ages. Says, "This was quite interesting. Let's see what you make of their story."
Real quick, did the soldiers tell me for sure that they saw a dwarf, or they just saw somebody that was shorter?
No, they said it was a dwarf.
Okay, they did.
They actually believed it was a dwarf. There we go. Post that in there for you. Yeah, in fact, they're pretty much, it's a dwarf. It had the beard and everything.
Did they describe what he was wearing, or is that one of the fuzzy details?
A worker's clothes, which are kind of just light brown to tan. You could have a white shirt. They can kind of change. It's not the workers don't really have a uniform, just like day laborers' clothes. It wasn't. That's why it was kind of, they call it a workers, because he wasn't in militia regalia.
Okay.
He didn't have a militia tabard on or anything.
Okay. Thanks.
So.
All right. So the commoners.
Yeah. So the guy she pulls these forward. Let's see here. Before, as she's pulling him forward, she does regale. She does tell you, Lady Sir Raven does tell you this as she's motioning them to walk forward, and they are coming in front. She says, "Yes, indeed, we do have a few Dwarven militia who are on staff at Castle Avenguard, but none that I recall are Glissondale natives." Timothy Margone says, "We can re-question, but not to my knowledge." "Mine either," Xanthos says. "In fact, I'm not exactly sure of all their names, but I'm pretty sure they would not be Glissondale natives." Anyway, Lady Sarah Raven continues, "We did have them questioned. All the ones on militia who were on staff at Castle Avenguard on the day in question all have witness accounts of their whereabouts. None was scheduled for inner-ground patrol at that time, as confirmed by the grounds commander. It's unusual for them to wear workers' clothes as well, and they usually have better dress when they leave, and this is not something that is typically done by the militia. Furthermore, we did bring them in, and they've all been questioned under a zone of truth. All have passed."
Did they now?
Indeed.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
So now, I'll let you hear this story.
By all
She says, "Workers, please entertain the dwarf. Tell him what you saw." Yeah, right. Yes, milady. Well, I saw it on the evening in question. It was a dwarf. Yes, he was in the workers' clothes, as they had been mentioned. Well, he, I saw him. I saw him from while I was working in one of the gardens. And the other guy mentions up. It's like, "Oh, I saw him too. I was near kind of the inner front gates. I was on an errand. And I saw him as well. I was bringing some water back from the well. I had to stop outside, let off a little lizard who'd gotten stuck. It's got to take care of the animals around here. And yes, I saw him as well," says the fourth one. "I was actually on a parapet. I wasn't working at the time. I had my time off and was standing on one of the parapets. Saw him walk down below me." Said, "Oh, yeah." And he was carrying something like over his shoulder. It looked like a stick. Could have been a shovel. From what we've heard, that could have quite been it." He said, I think it was a shovel. And it's like he passed sort of close to where I was. I was thinking nothing of it at the time. And they kind of stand there for a second. And she says, "And?" "Yeah, he waved to us. Yeah, he made a big wave." It's like, "Me too, waved at me. Me as well, up on the parapet. I waved back. Seemed like a friendly chap."
You witnessed him wave at all four of you at the same time?
"Oh, no. See, I was up near the front gate. He would have passed me long before he got back where the well was. Yeah, the parapet's kind of in between. I didn't see either of them," and he kind of points at the other two. It's like, which is kind of indicating that this dwarf kind of meandered through the ground and waved at these four people as he passed by. He's like, "Oh, yeah, wave just like this." And he kind of gives a big wave. Give me an insight check.
Yes, 12.
All right. Yeah, so it's kind of it's like has one hand over his shoulder, kind of like holding something on his shoulder, like a shovel or a stick or a pole or a spear or something. And the other hand is kind of high overhead as they kind of symbolize the wave as he gestures to kind of show you what.
Could any of you recognize this man if we found him?
They kind of look at each other. I hate to say it, all you dwarves kind of look the same, you know, especially if it's all the same color beard. It was brown. At least I think it was brown. I thought it was brown. Wasn't red. Yeah, it had to be brown. I don't think it was black.
Do you typically have trouble recognizing faces?
You know, it's like we didn't rightly think nothing of it at the time. So they're all like, you know, Lady Raven says, yes, we've tried to get somebody to kind of give us descriptions, but from the distance, these men did not really have defining features. I mean, they could have been describing you for all we know. Not that we think it was you.
I'm going to ask this again, and I want you to think long and hard. Do you not remember what he looks like? Or do you think you were made to forget what he looked like?
No. I just didn't really get a good picture, you know? And I was like, I was too far away. I remember the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, thought it was a little weird, man, kind of waving up at me on the parapet. I wasn't doing nothing. Hey, I waved back. He's like, yeah, me neither. I mean, we all know each other and all, but we don't really make to waving.
I still have enhance ability, right?
Yeah.
An hour? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna insight check all of them.
Okay.
Just to see if they think they're telling the truth.
Oh, speaking of which, you didn't roll. Actually, you didn't roll your last insight at advantage.
Yeah, I forgot to.
So
I just want to know if they really think they're telling the truth, or if there could be something else going on.
Okay, go ahead and give me one more insight for your advantage on the other one.
Oh.
Hey, look at that.
First one.
So, two things come to your mind. The first is they're all pretty much genuine. I mean, especially under the scrutiny of Lady Sarah Raven Avenguard, Xanthos, and Timothy Magone. It's like their inclination to lie or make up something about it, that's not going to happen. Not here. You can tell by they're like, you know, they've been brought in, and it's kind of like, oh shit, because something bad happened, and they're like, nope, not lying. These guys will cast Zone of Truth. It's like, but
were these included? Everybody that was questioned was under Zone of Truth, not just the dwarves.
Well, you haven't asked, but I mean,
okay. I thought
you have lawgivers and paladins and clerics that are here, so it's like,
yeah,
probably good. Avenguard don't play either. I mean, they're pretty tight.
Okay.
But your second one,
think they're saying the truth.
The second thing that dawns on you after the conversation, a little delayed, is that the way they're describing the wave and the manner is that it seemed to be exaggerated, meant to gain the attention of the viewer, as if this person wanted to be noticed, at least by the workers, which strangely conflicts with the account from the two guards that passed the closest to him.
So he wanted to be seen by the workers, but not the guards.
That'll be all, gentlemen, unless you have any more questions, Mr. Silverhill. The men kind of mosey back.
I don't think so. Not at the moment. Oh, did you see? No, I asked that. No more questions for now.
So, there was one other peculiar incident that did happen. And this is pretty much where our information runs slim. We did report with the gate watches, both the inner courtyard and as well as the outer. No one seemed to see a dwarf leave the grounds, not in the night, which is very strange. However, there is a recording A recording meaning a witness who did see a man who left late, approximately at the 1 to 2 hour. The guard was a little fuzzy on what it is. It's difficult for some of them to tell at night. He was carrying a bag of flour, which isn't highly unusual, except the hour. It is common for us to give flour to our workers as part of their payment. Grains as well, salts, these kind of trade goods. These workers work for coin, as well as, sometimes they need these things for their own larders. So this was not unusual, was not enough to be reported until, obviously, what was discovered. Under question, the guards could not remember this person's name, despite the fact those that go in and out are known to all the guards. But they were able to remember. He was human. He was about 5'9", maybe 160 pounds. When they examined the bag, which they do for anything being hauled out, it indeed had flour in it. They did recall he wore a weird, funny-looking hat and spoke with a wry drawl.
With a dry drawl?
A wry drawl.
Wry drawl.
But that is all that they could remember.
And these are different guards?
Yes. These were the ones who were near the front gate. The front gate remembered this person leaving. And it stood out because of the hour. He was searched like normal, like any other worker would have been.
What color was his eyes and his hair?
It's a good question. We can perhaps ask the guards. When you exit, I believe the guards would be stationed at the front gate. The hour is coming upon of their shift. That is correct, Xanthos says. In fact, they are there just for the precaution of if they were to see this person again, that I would be notified. And he said, then of course I would notify you, lady. It says, yes, Xanthos speaks the truth. They have been placed back near the position with additional guards in the event that this person is seen again and they can recall who it is so that this person could be questioned. Well, that is all that we have for you here. Yeah. That is all that we have for you here, and I must say that our time is going to be occupied, Lady Sarah Raven says, talking about her and Timothy Margone, as we have some other business to conduct. But Xanthos, can you take him to Selenia's tree? Absolutely, since I know the best way to get there. He kind of stands up, finishes off his ale.
Well, before we go, Lady Avenguard, there's something you should know.
Yes.
I, for once, well, not maybe once, agree with Xanthos. I believe the events happening in Glissondale, Snowshore Harbor, and in Avenguard are quite possibly connected.
Oh my.
And I say that because I have already spoken to the Tremblewinds, who investigated in Emdale, and to those new friends I've made who investigated Snowshore Harbor. All of them describe a man that is very similar to the one that I have been investigating. And two of us have encountered, actually all three of our parties have encountered a mysterious black powder. Well, it's not mysterious, we know what it is. What we don't know is why it keeps appearing.
Black powder, you say?
Crimes.
Timothy Margone says, black powder, you say? As in the black powder that comes from across the sea.
The very same.
Interesting.
Now,
was it
accompanying
do you believe it was in quantity? As in a large quantity
Uh,
of this?
it could have been. As far as I know, one full barrel has been found.
One full barrel?
Indeed.
My God. You
A
can see
full keg
he's
has been
definitely got
discovered.
a astonished look. Lady Sarah Raven kind of looks at him and is like, what does that mean? I said, my lady, pardon my surprise, but a full barrel of black powder is more than most people's homes. The amount of money spent for this substance, which, when touched to fire, sets off quite an explosion. In fact, I've seen these small devices which have been, how shall we say, wielded by some of the southerners these days. Only the ones who can afford the finest. By using a metal ball and placing it within what they call the barrel of a metallic cylinder. These devices can fit in your hand and propel this small metal ball via this black powdered explosion with a frightening speed over an incredible distance. It does make quite the noise, but believe me when I tell you that the small metal ball's lethality is, well, something to rival that of one of the most fearsome archers or crossbowmen.
This is indeed concerning news.
But you say
I thought it could just be used to blow things, or in the barrels were discovered by the Tremblewings.
well, furthermore,
I discovered a card,
really,
a business card belonging to this mysterious man, that disappeared in a puff of black smoke, much like the man did after killing the two nobles in Snowshore Harbor. And behind, after the smoke, was left a small black powder.
I see.
In fact, the card was written in the same black powder. So
So,
these things are not unconnected. Let's say that for sure.
so tell me more about this black powder, Master Timothy. You see, my lady, he kind of leans forward and he reaches for his component pouch. The projectile of which I spoke is done by igniting the black powder. And I spoke of its lethality. He takes a little pinch of dust, which is little more than maybe a teaspoon. He puts it in his hand. This is the amount of powder it takes in order to create the combustion that propels that projectile. Now, imagine, if you will, a full keg of this being ignited. The explosion could put a wall clean through Castle Avenguard's outer walls with ease. She's like, you kind of realize, she's kind of like realizing the effect that this could have. She's like,
Master Margoni, you seem to have quite a depth of knowledge in this subject. Have you recently apprehended anyone with such type possessions?
Nay, good sir. Apprehension is not my gig. I am merely an alchemist and the Castle Avenguard's wizard. But as a member of the Circle of Wizards, this substance is known to me, although I've never seen it in a quantity beyond that of, I would say, a pound. And that pound, good sir, was probably worth more than, well, most adventurers would bring home from a decent haul.
Mm-hmm.
To say it is quite expensive, but a full keg, again, I'm just looking at what the expense is here. Black powder does not necessarily combust on accident. It does have to be lit, although any accidental fire finding its way to the keg would have certainly combusted. But it's not something that it just does merely on its own.
Interesting. Well, I must question the guards further and investigate the scene of the crime to be sure.
Yes, to the scene of the crime, Xanthos says.
But my gut tells me that Xanthos is right. Something fishy is going on here.
I knew it! I mean, I thought this would be the case from my own personal observations.
Yes, yes. And furthermore, if a man could disappear in a puff of black smoke, what's to say he couldn't reappear in the next town.
Well, if he has the ability to teleport or move via the circles, this would make traversing distance quite easy.
Indeed.
Although he
Possibly
kind of
finding
looks at
power.
Lady Sarah Raven. His closest circle would indeed be here, but would he know the code? It says Gabrielle Solarum protects that circle with her life. It's not known to many, only to perhaps some of our friends here. The closest public circle would have been Tindleton. That's only, well, with speed of horse or other magical means, it could have been here in a day. Yes, to the tree, Xanthos says.
To the tree.
Is it, yes,
Well,
he is quite correct,
thank
Master
them for
Dwarf.
their- Thank them for their hospitality, and
Indeed, if you find anything else, please keep our friends. You can keep Xanthos or Timothy or myself abreast of any information you should find. It would be most appreciated, and we do appreciate your visit and the information with which you have shared.
likewise. This has been most helpful, and I will help my investigation speed it along quite nicely.
Yes, to the tree.
Lead on, Sir Xanthos.
Xanthos walks back to the foyer, kind of across the hall. He's heading towards a door on that same floor, kind of in the back corner.
Wait. I didn't see him leave.
He's over here.
There he is. Just a box.
All right. He's like, yes, this door here. Oops, I missed the door. Uh-oh. Fell out.
Race ya.
He jumped off the balcony.
He's a paladin. He's so holy, he floats.
Failed his dex check. He's a paladin. He failed his dex check. So this is the path which the guards would have walked, passed by, as he kind of moves over here towards the garden. And of course, there is the beautiful tree that magically grows here. Its crystal-like branches. You don't recall seeing this here, actually. Last time you were here. It has been some time. It says, yes, when the heart of the silver dragon was buried here, they thought it would merely end up in being just a grave. But the tree sprouted. As the headstone was broken asunder, we had to remove it. The crystals seem to glow, though if you pull them from the branches, their light will fade over time, but it does still bear a very small bioluminescence. An organic luminescence. You can see he's trying to remember like what he was told, because he's not really the nature guy. But yes, this is the hole which was dug. And there are two guards standing by as they see. It is okay, gentlemen. He is with me, Xanthos Stonespire. They're like, yes, Guardian Xanthos. They kind of step aside. There is another shovel here. It's like, but it's one of the castle shovels. You can tell it's human shovel. That they're probably used to, dig around so that they could see what the hell was going on.
And these are not the guards that I need to question, right?
No, those will be at the front gate on your way out.
Okay. Well, lead on, Xanthos.
Oh, as you can see right there, there is a hole. As you look and investigate, give me an insight check. Once again, I will give you this one. You can, give me this insight check at advantage.
Yes, no, I was just about to ask if we were talking for an hour. 21.
Yeah, if after this, you probably have to recast.
Okay.
So, as you peer through the hole and look down in there, you can sort of wiggle down in. And he describes, yes, it goes down this far and over this way. The biggest thing that you realize very quick is that it would have taken a slender person to wriggle through this tunnel, not something a full-grown dwarf would have been able to do.
Hmm. So is it deep or long enough that a dwarf couldn't have even dug the tunnel
No,
all the way through, or is it just the opening?
it's the width of the tunnel is not very wide. It does go down about maybe 2.5 feet, and then it kind of goes on a little lateral trajectory. In fact, if you are keen enough, you can lower. Just keep in mind, I'm using geometric shapes and not actual. I can't actually go diagonal.
When you say lower myself in
Your
there?
cut line. No, if you lower the cut line.
Oh, lower the cut line.
Yeah, if you lower the cut line, which I'm showing now on the thing, it kind of gives a diagonal that goes over maybe about 3 feet underground, over a distance of about, I'm gonna say, 12 feet. So a hole, but just a very skinny person, lean person would be crawling on their belly in and out. You can't really see all the way down there, but he tells you, he's like, yeah, some of the crystals from the tree grow under the ground, and it comes to kind of a pocketed area, which he kind of describes was kind of dug out almost in a spherical shape per se, like you were looking around for something. And they believe that is possibly the location of where the heart was. Although they can't tell if it was there or it was taken, or if it had deteriorated and nothing was taken. See, that part they don't know because they don't know.
Did they send anybody in to investigate?
Yeah, so they've had a couple of like small men and a couple of the boys that crawl in to take a look around. But like big burly guys, they can't get in there.
Where are these men who've seen underneath the tree now? Where are they now?
Basically, you can ask around, but he's like, you don't really have to question them. They've questioned them. What questions do you have? He's like, I can probably answer.
So, is there any evidence that there was any digging done around the crystals, around the end of the tunnel?
Yes.
Did they dig to the end of the tunnel and then that was it?
No.
Or is there digging down at the end of the tunnel?
No, it's as if the tunnel was dug out and started, obviously with a shovel for speed's sake. It narrows towards the end, but at the end there are hand marks, as if you're both trying to dig and kind of claw dirt away, as if you were looking for something with your hands. Or a small spade, perhaps.
I'll pull Xanthos aside in case these guards don't know this, but I'll tell them I've spoken to the Tremblewinds, and they've told me about this tree.
Yes, they were here.
I know that the essence of Selenia lives within.
And it still does.
Has anyone tried to talk to it?
Yes. In fact, it's probably one of the magics that it is one of the divinations in which was asked, and yet there was no answer.
Interesting. 1 second.
He says, well, there really isn't anything else here. Perhaps we should go talk to the guards at the front.
I have some incense here. I'd like to take a few minutes to commune
Sure.
with this tree.
Absolutely.
See if I can speak to Selenia.
Okay.
So I'll cast. I will find a secluded area nearby the tree and commune with. Cast commune.
All right. Casting commune. Alrighty. So, when you cast commune, let's see, you can ask 3 questions that can be answered with a yes or no.
Okay. So I'll be directing my questions at Selenia inside the tree.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Your mic's on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking of the best way to phrase the question. So if I ask like 2 questions in one that both are yes or no, does it count as 2 questions?
Yes. That's your first question.
I'm thinking
yes.
like, well, no, I'm thinking like if I ask something to the effect of, "Can you hear me and respond?" If she says yes,
That's a question.
You know, to which that would be 2 questions. Because one is, "Can you hear me?" and one is, "Can you respond?"
No, technically
yes
it's
no, I wouldn't
technically
know
it's one question, but the answer could be confusing because you only get a yes or no back.
Right.
Unless the answer is the same for both, which you might be able to assume.
I tell you what. If she can hear me and I ask if she can respond, then I know.
Then you know what?
Fair Selenia, can you speak to me?
Yes.
Interesting. So she can hear me and she can communicate. Okay, let's go with the obvious. Fair Selenia, the heart beneath your tree was taken from you.
Sorry, I must have missed it. What was the question?
I said the heart beneath your tree is there is no heart remaining beneath your tree. Was it taken from you, as in stolen?
Ah, I see.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
One more to go.
Third wish. More wishes.
No more ixnay on wishings for more wishes. Uno, dos, tres. No substitution. The same as a reflex.
See, she only knows what she knew in life. So even if she wouldn't know who took it unless that person was known to her before she died.
Not necessarily the case.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, the obvious question that I want to ask, but I don't know if it will get me anywhere, is, Fair Selenia, do you know who took your heart?
There comes no answer.
So not an unclear.
Which
is it the unclear as the answer?
That could be taken. That could be taken as an unclear.
Okay. Well, that's the end of my commune.
Yeah. Did you learn anything new?
Indeed, I did. Santos, indeed, I did.
Oh, what did you learn?
Our fair Selenia's heart was stolen.
Ah, yes. Shard Avenguard stole her heart. Huh. We all know the story.
Ha, 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 ha. Wait. But I specifically, it's a joke, right? Because I specifically said the heart beneath the tree is missing. So if she said yes, then that's not what she didn't mean what Xanthos meant, right?
Well, it's Xanthos. I don't know.
That's true. Okay, yeah. All right. Throw me off there. Yes. So it seems at least the mystery of whether or not the heart remained has been answered.
It's exactly what I expected. See, I thought that the heart would have been stolen. If they didn't find it there, you think they would have found something. I'm pretty sure. And I've told the tree many times that the heart was stolen.
What do you mean you've told the tree?
Well, I mean, come out here and talk to it occasionally. I mean, doesn't really talk back all the time. Or hardly ever.
When you say spoke to the tree, do you mean cast a spell or just talked out loud?
I do my prayers. For them to reach, you have to say out loud. Of course, I'm talking to the Red Knight. But, conversations with the tree, I'm sure they're connected.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose there's nothing left to do but to continue on and question the guards at the front.
Yes, this way.
And I find nothing else of interest when
No.
I investigate. Do I need to reinvestigate? I can't remember if I actually.
No, you don't. You don't need to investigate here. Everything's
okay.
The scene's basically been, kind of preserved, but they've gone through it and they didn't really find anything else. The shovel was the big thing that was left behind.
Right, and I left that with them. Yes.
Yes.
I left that with Lady Avenguard.
Yeah, so they won't let you take that. You have the knowledge, but yeah, they're keeping that one. So this would have been, he's like, over here would have been where the dwarf was seen walking along this path. Mm-hmm. And he kind of points up to like one of the high windows on the outer wall. At the very, very top of this tower that you're coming up on is like the rampart where he stops here, he points up. He's like, way up there on the very top is where, the worker was casually hanging out, and the dwarf waved to them.
And how tall is the wall?
You can zoom out, but it is the very top of that wall.
Yeah. it's hard for me to. Okay, that's a good ways up there.
Oh yeah, that's a good ways.
Tell me, Xanthos, is it common for workers to just hang out on the parapet?
Occasionally, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's got a very nice view. From many of these towers, you can see quite the distance.
They are allowed up there. They're not restricted from.
On the outer wall, they would basically have the ability to move about. The inner wall, he kind of points to the one on the inside to your south. He's like, they can't go up there. And that's the inner castle. That's the actual keep walls itself.
Wait, hang on. Let me zoom out here. So,
to your north is.
Yeah, we're all within the castle. So this.
No,
wall
not anymore.
Here.
When you went outside the back, you left the inner castle itself. You're on the keep grounds, yes.
But I'm inside the wall that is the double wall.
Yes.
On every side but the back.
Yes, this is still Castle Avenguard grounds.
So this parapet is not the city wall. It's the Castle Avenguard parapet.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm. And they're just allowed to go up there?
On the outer one, they can go up there. Oftentimes they have to work, or especially if they're taking water supplies to any of the guards, yes. They'll go up there. But yeah, on occasion, they'll go up there because it's relaxing.
Okay, well, lead on then.
I mean, does it happen all the time? No, but it does happen. Right. He's like, basically, he points the doors there near you. That's the militia. That's one of the militia barracks. That's where most of them register. They've all been talked to. So, he kind of pulls up here. He's like, you, Steve, Bob. And they're like, yes, Santos. You guys were on watch. Our guest, the High Priest, Dr. Brand Silverhill, has some questions for you about the man you saw leaving. Yes. They kind of turn around. They're like, we've been pulling some extra duty here just in case he came back. We could recognize him. It's been a couple days. Haven't seen him.
It's been a couple days since you've seen. Wait, you've seen him more than once?
No, we only saw him. We saw him leave on that evening. We were working the night shift. I mean, and they kind of lean in. It's like, best thing about this is we've been put on the day shift. Don't have to work nights for now.
What time did you see him?
One of them says, at the same time, one of them says 1, the other one says 2. I thought we agreed. It's like, maybe in the middle somewhere. It's awfully dark under here, and you can't always see where the stars are. But it's about that time. It's past midnight.
Had the castle been alerted to the crime yet? At the moment that you saw him?
It's like, there was no alert until about, I said a good another 30, 40 minutes later. And
it wasn't you that discovered the grave?
No, so...
Or the robbery, okay.
We did not abandon our post. We were right here.
This man that left, how good a look did you get at him? Can you describe him?
Yeah. He was, a thin man. One of the workers. He had this funny hat that kind of was all over his head. The kind like the peasants wear that droops down over your ears. He's about 5'9". He kind of holds his hand up. About 160 pounds.
Was the hat obscuring his face?
No. God, could see his face. Couldn't see his hair, though. Those kind of hats, they cover your whole head. He didn't have anything strange about him. No warts on his nose. Nothing like that.
Did you by chance catch the color of his eyes?
They both go green, maybe?
Mm-hmm. And none of his hair was sticking out of the hat. You couldn't see any of his hair. Not a strand.
Can't rightly remember. Could have been bald though. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was bald. That's like,
What color was the hat?
they're both like brown leather.
This is the same. You say this is the same kind of hat that peasants wear, like in
Yeah.
Avenguard.
So yeah, you've seen these. These are kind of like, for hats. The hats are a thing, especially for winter and whatnot. The leather hats might have fur on the inside. It comes down, pulls over the ears. Some of them have little ties that will tie under their chin to keep the hats on, so they don't get blown off or whatnot. Skull caps is what they pretty much look like. It's kind of it's a very common item for like a lower working class. It would definitely not stand out, except
Right,
to the militia guys. To the militia guys, though, of course, it stands out because it's a worker hat.
Right.
These guys are given helms and that kind of thing. So yeah.
1 second. I'm rereading some of these. You say this man was carrying a bag of flour. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We did check it. It's custom to check all things. You just
How thoroughly did you check it? Did
Yeah.
you dump it out? Did you just stick a hand in it?
Yeah, we can't dump out the flour. We're not going to stick our hands in their flour, but we got the long knife. They have a long knife, and basically they say they poke it into the flour to see if there's anything valuable in it. It'll go ting ting. If it's metal, it's like usually don't have any problems with the crime here. The workers are paid pretty well, but it's custom. And so basically, they probed it with a long knife. Just because if there's a chalice in it, it'll dink.
Right.
So give me.
Do you have the knife? Do you have the knife on you that you use?
Yeah, right here. One of them hands it to you. Make an insight check. You got advantage too. So
Let me try that again then. 14.
14. Yeah, I mean, basically, it sounds right, sounds logical, but on the other hand, if it was something like a heart, it may not. It may have just gone right through it.
Right. I'd like to inspect the dagger, the knife that was used, see if there's any.
Sure. Give me a investigation.
I mean, at the very best, I would see a trail of blood or something, or a blood stain, or anything that would indicate that it has touched blood.
Okay. Give me an investigation.
13.
13. You kind of look it over. Knife looks clean. Looks nice.
All right. I'm gonna cast detect magic on the knife.
Okay. Cast detect magic on the knife. The very, very tip of the knife, kind of on one side of the blade, is the smallest of glows. You detect some kind of an enchantment magic. It's like from a residue that's basically invisible.
Okay, say that again.
It's like from the very tip of the knife on one side, just at the very tip. It's like a residue that gives off a glow. You're from looking at it under detect magic, it looks like an enchantment magic. But it is small. Like the blade and the knife has touched something that was magical, that came rubbed off on it.
Xanthos.
Yes.
If I want to take this knife further inspection, can we ask the guard to surrender it for a temporary amount of time?
Oh yes, absolutely. Guard, we are confiscating this knife for a temporary amount of time.
It shall be returned to you as soon as
Is
I
it-
determine.
He's like,
What?
yes, sir.
what it may tell us about the crime. And no other knife touched the bag of flour. This is the only one, correct?
That's right, sir.
Very good. Well, that is all.
Very good. Xanthos says, he's like, well, it has been good seeing you. I would give one question, or I should say, something I would suggest, actually. If you would do me a favor on your way out, and perhaps poke around the town, perhaps get some information to see what is being said. As we have not quite released a full statement from the capital, or from the castle. It would be a good idea to get a, how should we say, outsider's perspective of what is going on in the city. And you can give me a sending back and let me know. The lady has asked me to ask you to do this, as our own internal guards and whatnot would be, perceived differently. But you, not being from Avenguard, perhaps might turn up something new.
Yes, indeed. The best place to look for any clue is you start at the pub.
Very well.
That's where all the rumors come in,
Excellent. Well, it has been good seeing you, Master Dwarf, friend, and once again, perhaps in the future we will adventure together. Although, perhaps not in time like we did last time.
Yes. If I don't go back in time for the rest of my life, it will be too soon.
Very well. He gives you a very firm handshake, and with that, allows you to leave the castle. So, with that, go ahead and give me a lifestyle payment for the day. Just determine what lifestyle. If you want the highest, that is aristocrat, and I believe that is 10 gold.
Nah, we'll just go with, let's see, I remember, I looked. You have to go into your inventory.
Wealthy is 4. Comfortable is 2. I'm going to be looking up your renown, as you are going to be able to gather information within the town. Let's see, Brand's renown in Avenguard is
the highest of any of his renown.
Of course. Actually, it is a 13, which means you will have a +1 on gathering information within the city of Avenguard.
I will go. Which is the aristocratic gives you extra, automatically gives you help.
Yeah, it gives you hired help, and it gives you the highest bonus to gathering information.
All right, we'll go with aristocratic.
All right, that is 10 gold. So mark off 10 gold. As you hit the town in an aristocratic lifestyle. So, as such, you can give me a gather information check, which is based off of your charisma. It is a charisma check. And you will have an additional +4 to this roll.
Oh. Over here trying to remove coins from my equipment that I don't have any gold in. I'm like, I want to let me pay. Okay. Got that done. What did you need again?
It is a gather information check, which is based off your charisma. In Avenguard, and because of your lifestyle, we're going to add an additional 4 to your roll.
Okay, so just a straight charisma roll?
Yeah, it is a straight charisma.
23.
Nailed it. Wow. So,
nice.
You spend the rest of the evening kind of getting Brand's putting his finger on the pulse of the people. Several things that Brand does learn. The first, the people of Avenguard are spinning rumors that it was Shard's grave which was dug up. The people are a bit unsettled and waiting for an official response. However, as you dig a little further, you hear more. There is another rumor that it was the Silver Dragon's grave who was violated, and that something was taken. This is outrageous! How dare someone violate such a sacred creature? especially a defender of Avenguard. And as you dig a little deeper, come to find out, word is that several people overheard a conversation the next day after the crime between some townsfolk who said it was an attack from the Ironbeard clan of Glissendale, who stole a valuable relic from Castle Avenguard. This seems to have started a small grassroots movement to push for retaliation. Now give me an insight check. At advantage, too.
Oh. Thank God. 18.
All right. This one's very simple because you've already discovered some of this information. How in the world could a rumor start the next day about the Ironbeard clan when you just found that out?
Are you putting that in? I was typing that up.
I'm putting it
You're
in.
typing it in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
Does
one
the
is very-
grassroots movement have a name? Like,
It does not.
Is it organized? It's just people right now.
Well, it's the rumor is they're talking about it, right? So there's no definitive proof.
And do all three rumors implicate Glissendale, or only the third rumor?
I posted them in there. Only the third one,
Okay.
which is the one that's like, I mean, you're here like 3 days after the fact. You are the one that just found the Ironbeard symbol. How could a rumor start the day after?
Right.
That's what's like, okay. So,
Yeah. Interesting.
with that, we bring to close this episode, which is grave news in Avenguard. So the mystery thickens. Bran has done an excellent job. You did a very good job, actually, of investigating here. We hope anybody watching, all those who are watching, take good notes. I'm sure Bran will post his clues back to the clues board for those to process over. He will have his own thoughts as the mystery deepens. But once again, thank everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. This has been the 5th episode in Time of Troubles for Shadows of Dawn. And with that,
Thanks, everybody.
yay, we will say good night and good evening.